It was a dark and silent night. The kind of night where the world seems to hold its breath, and the faintest sound echoes like a scream. Most of the city was asleep, wrapped in the comfort of their homes, unaware of the shadows that danced just beyond the reach of the streetlights. But on an empty road, the headlights of a car pierced through the darkness, cutting through the stillness like a blade. What seemed like an ordinary moment would soon turn into a chilling mystery, one that would haunt investigators for years to come. This is the story of Mary, a 24-year-old woman whose life was tragically cut short. A story of obsession, betrayal, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Scene 1. The night it all began. The year was 2017. Mary was a vibrant young woman, full of dreams and aspirations. She had a smile that could light up a room and a heart that was always willing to help others. That evening, she had been at a cafe with her closest friends, laughing and sharing stories over cups of coffee. It was a night like any other, or so it seemed. As the clock struck midnight, Mary said her goodbyes and made her way to the dimly lit parking lot. The air was crisp, and the faint hum of the city in the distance provided a strange sense of comfort. She unlocked her car, slid into the driver's seat, and started the engine. But just as she was about to drive away, something happened, something that would change everything. Security footage later revealed a shadowy figure lurking in the distance, watching her every move. The figure was careful, deliberate, almost as if they had been waiting for this moment. Mary, unaware of the danger, adjusted her rear-view mirror and glanced at her phone. But before she could react, the figure moved closer, and in an instant, she was gone. Scene 2. The disappearance. The next morning, Mary's family woke up to an unsettling silence. She hadn't returned home, and her phone was switched off. Panic set in as they tried calling her friends, her workplace, and anyone who might have seen her. But no one had any answers. By midday, they reported her missing. The police launched an investigation, tracing her last known movements. Security cameras showed her exiting the cafe, walking to her car, and getting inside. But there was no footage of her driving away. It was as if she had vanished into thin air. The days that followed were a blur of sleepless nights and endless questions. Her family plastered the city with missing person posters, hoping someone, anyone, had seen her. But as the days turned into weeks, hope began to dwindle. Scene 3. The abandoned car. Then, a breakthrough. A hiker, exploring a remote forest 30 miles away, stumbled upon an abandoned vehicle. It was Mary's car, covered in dirt and leaves, as if it had been there for weeks. The discovery sent shockwaves through the investigation. Inside the car, police found Mary's purse, her phone, and a few scattered belongings, but there was no sign of Mary. What was even more disturbing was the driver's seat. The position suggested that someone taller than Mary had been driving. Forensic teams were called in to examine the vehicle. They uncovered traces of blood on the back seat and a strand of hair. DNA results confirmed it belonged to Mary. But the question remained, who took her and why? Scene 4. The suspect emerges. Investigators began digging into Mary's personal life, questioning her friends, colleagues, and family. Slowly, a name emerged: Mark Harris, an old acquaintance with a disturbing history. Mark had been obsessed with Mary for months. He had sent her countless messages, followed her, and even showed up at her workplace uninvited. Friends recalled how Mary had tried to distance herself from him, but Mark's obsession only grew stronger. Police tracked Mark down and brought him in for questioning. His alibi was weak, and his nervous demeanor raised red flags. When confronted with the evidence, he broke into a cold sweat. After hours of interrogation, he finally confessed. Scene 5. The Confession. Mark revealed the horrifying details of that night. He had been waiting near the cafe, watching Mary from the shadows. When she got into her car, he approached from the passenger side, forced his way in, and drove off with her. He took her to an abandoned cabin deep in the woods, where he held her captive. But the story didn't end there. Mark claimed that Mary had tried to escape, and in the struggle, she fell, hitting her head. Panicked, he left her there, burying her under leaves and debris before fleeing the scene. Scene 6. The Search for Justice. Authorities rushed to the location Mark described. The cabin was dilapidated, surrounded by towering trees and an eerie silence. After hours of searching, they found Mary's remains, buried under a pile of leaves. The discovery brought a sense of closure to her family, but the pain of losing her was unbearable. Mark Harris was sentenced to life in prison without parole, but for Mary's loved ones, no punishment could ever bring her back. Scene 7. The Aftermath. In the months that followed, Mary's story became a cautionary tale. Her family started a foundation in her name, dedicated to helping victims of stalking and abduction. They worked tirelessly to raise awareness about the dangers of obsession and the importance of trusting your instincts. Meanwhile, Mark Harris remained behind bars, haunted by his actions. In an interview from prison, he expressed remorse, but his words rang hollow. For Mary's family, justice had been served, but the scars of her loss would never fully heal. Scene 8. A Mother's Grief. Mary's mother, Sarah, became the face of the campaign for justice. She spoke at rallies, appeared on television, and shared her daughter's story with anyone who would listen. Her strength and resilience inspired countless others, but behind the scenes, she struggled with the weight of her grief. In a heartfelt interview, Sarah said, "Mary was my everything. She had so much life ahead of her, and it was taken away in the blink of an eye. No parent should ever have to bury their child. I fight for her because she can't fight for herself." Scene 9. The Legacy of Mary. Mary's story didn't end with her death. Her legacy lived on through the lives she touched and the changes her case brought about. Laws were amended to provide better protection for stalking victims, and her foundation helped countless women feel safer in their daily lives. Her friends and family often gathered to celebrate her life, sharing stories of her kindness, her laughter, and her unwavering spirit. Though she was gone, her memory continued to shine brightly, a beacon of hope in the face of darkness. Scene 10. The Investigation's Turning Point. As investigators dug deeper into Mark's past, they uncovered a pattern of disturbing behavior. He had a history of stalking other women, though none had come forward out of fear. Mary's case became a turning point, prompting law enforcement to take stalking more seriously. Detectives also discovered that Mark had been planning his actions for weeks. He had studied Mary's routine, knew her favorite spots, and even followed her to the cafe that night. The level of premeditation sent chills down the spines of everyone involved in the case. Scene 11. The Trial. The trial was a media sensation. Reporters crowded the courthouse, and Mary's family sat in the front row, determined to see justice served. Mark's defense team tried to paint him as a troubled individual, but the evidence was overwhelming. When the verdict was read guilty on all counts, the courtroom erupted in a mix of tears and relief. Mary's family hugged each other tightly, knowing that while this wouldn't bring her back, it would ensure that Mark could never hurt anyone else. Scene 12. The community's response. Mary's disappearance and tragic death shook the community to its core. Vigils were held in her honor, and people from all walks of life came together to support her family. The cafe where she had last been seen became a memorial, with flowers, candles, and notes left in her memory. Local businesses also stepped up, offering rewards for information and funding self-defense classes for women. Mary's story became a rallying cry for change, inspiring people to take action and protect one another. Scene 13, The Final Goodbye. Months after her remains were found, Mary was laid to rest in a quiet ceremony attended by her closest friends and family. Her mother, Sarah, placed a single rose on her casket and whispered, "You'll always be with me." As the sun set that evening, a gentle breeze swept through the cemetery, carrying with it a sense of peace. Though Mary was gone, her spirit lived on in the hearts of those who loved her. This case is a chilling reminder that danger can lurk in the most unexpected places. It's a story of how one moment can change everything, and how the pursuit of justice can uncover the darkest truths. Mary's story is not just a tale of tragedy, but also a call to action. Stay aware, stay safe, and always trust your instincts. Because sometimes, the real horror isn't in the movies, it's in the world around us.